Hey everyone, this is Darren with Crazy Minnow Studio. Welcome back. And in the previous video, we went over the nuances of the new custom inspector for salsa and emoter and eyes. And in this video, we are going to just do a simple setup for the box head character because, well, he's simple. So it's easiest to show you how the Viseme configuration works on box head. So let's get to it. Let me go ahead and set this scene up here real quick. We've already got salsa installed. We're basically picking up from the last video. So what was in the last setup is in this setup. So let me go ahead and clean this up and get box head ready here. I'll go ahead and remove this. Okay, so here we've got box head. We've got salsa installed. Let's go ahead and put our references together here. And now let's configure the Visemes. So we'll add one Viseme. We'll give it a name. Say small. We're going to configure this pretty much just like we did in Salsa 1. We've already got him selected. Let's go ahead and we'll set this blend shape to say small. So before we get too far into this, let's go through some of these settings here real quick. This is our Viseme right here, the first one, say small. We've just given it a name. It can be any name. The name really means nothing. It's more for organizational purposes, so you can easily pick it out like when you're looking at the triggers or whatnot. And then we've got the trigger setting. It's recommended we don't mess with the triggers until the last step. And the reason is because we have this handy dandy little trigger display mode here, and it will show all of our Visemes, and we can easily just perform a distribution using these hot buttons over here. So I kind of let the cat out of the bag there, but that's what we're going to do. So let's go back. We've got say small. Inside our component, remember each Viseme, well, let's back up. So salsa requires at least one Viseme, and each Viseme requires at least one expression component. And so an expression component is basically an animator controller type and a configuration of whatever that type is assigned to. So if it's a shape, then it would be a skin mesh render and a blend shape. If it's a bone, then it would be a transform and a start and stop point on the bone. So in this shape, we're selecting the say small blend shape from the box head model, and if we look at the skin mesh renderer, we see we've got these blend shapes on him. And then next we've got a min and a max, and basically min should probably always be 0 on a shape, and then it's going to be a value up to 1. This is a normalized value. The blend shape value would be 100, so when this is 1, the blend shape weight would be 100. And sometimes you may want more or less of this, depending on what kind of Viseme you're putting together. I'm going to go ahead and delete these two Visemes that I added while I was in trigger display mode. Up here, this preview display mode will give you an indication of what that particular Viseme looks like. So if I added another shape here, and let's just say we mix, say, large with it, then it is going to show what the full-on position is of these two components on this Viseme. And you can do things like, okay, well, I don't need quite so much of that, say, large there. So I can adjust that, and it's real time in the display while you're doing that. And we can also come over here and say, well, let's see what it looks like without the say small shape. You can turn that off, turn it back on. So you can use these to check out your design and see if it's meeting the criteria that you have. So we obviously don't want this say large on here. You notice the delete buttons are gone. So while you're in preview display mode, you can't delete these, but you can easily just turn off display mode and then remove it. Okay, so we've got what we need for say small, so let's add another Viseme. And as we mentioned in the previous video, I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. So as we mentioned in the previous video, when we add a new Viseme, or even adding a component, it's going to copy the previous component. So the previous component was in the previous Viseme, and it was say small. If this were say medium, and we add a new Viseme, it's going to be say medium. So let's go ahead and put this back to say small, and this next one is going to be medium. And so let's go ahead, and we've already got that selected. We'll go ahead and collapse these, and we'll add the last one, and this one's going to be large. So we copied the previous one, which is medium, so let's change this to large, and wow, look at that. We've already got it pretty much configured just the same way SALSA 1 was configured. So we can come back in here, and we can change this. And now let's go look at that trigger display mode. So since I removed those previous Visemes, it added new ones in here. And the easy way to do this is just hit this curve distribution. You can use the curve or you can use the linear. It basically divides the number of Visemes up across the space. So if we had a bunch more in here and we did linear, you can see it basically just kind of draws a line, straight line down. And if we do curve, then it, then it distributes more down here in the lower range, and this is where speech is generally happening, and this is where yelling is generally happening. So your bigger Viseme shapes you probably want towards the end, and your smaller Viseme shapes you want towards the beginning. So I am going to use my collapse button here, and I'm going to remove these extra Visemes I added that I don't need. So let's go back into trigger mode. So those are gone, so now we need to redistribute. Okay, so anytime you add or remove Visemes, you probably want to come back in here and redistribute the triggers. All right, so that's all done. Now let's make sure we have an audio clip, which we do not. We'll just grab the promo audio clip here, drag that in. Now this is ready to go. We're going to turn off play on awake. We're going to control that from within the SALSA interface, and it will pop up right here underneath the audio source link. And let's go ahead and hit play. And since we don't have it on play on awake, we have to hit play right here.
SALSA, simple automated lip sync approximation. The unique technology behind SALSA provides high quality
and we can pause it, start it up again,
for your
or stop it. Okay, in a nutshell, that's setting up Visemes. I am going to show one more Viseme setup down here, and this may or may not make sense, but I'm going to go ahead and add a, let's see, we'll just add a cube. Let's go ahead and move that cube so we can see it. We'll just put it kind of out here in front of Boxhead. And from Boxhead, we're going to animate that cube as another Viseme. So we'll add a Viseme, and then we will set this to bone, and then we're going to animate this cube. And right now we see as soon as I drop that transform on here, it grabbed the initial position, it stores that, and then it also set the start position, the minimum, to the current position of, or the current transform settings, not just position, but rotation and scale of that cube. So we are going to do just a rotation. So let's turn off position and scale because we're not concerned with those. And we're going to adjust this. So right here, this is going to be the minimum position. So when it's not activated, it should be on this position. And then we'll click adjust. This is a helper button here. What this will do is lock your inspector, and it will select the cube. And then that way you can adjust it and then set the max. So you'll see here, we'll click adjust. So our inspector is locked. We've selected the cube. We'll go ahead and go into rotation mode. And let's just tip that cube up. Maybe that's all we want to do. Okay, and then when we come over here, you notice the min is now blue. That means it is not set on what the min was set to. So it's a different value. And this is still red. And these are gold, meaning configurations required, right? The end position has not been captured. So to capture that, we click this little button out here on the end. And if you hover over pretty much anything in the interface, it is going to tell you what that is all about. Now, if I click this, there's nothing here. It's not set on anything right now. So this isn't a button. But I can go back to the min here, and you notice it turns green. So I click that, and it goes right back. So we need to move it one more time. Back up. We'll just do it right there. And now we can set the min here, or we can set the max. The min we're going to keep where it was. We're going to set the max. Okay, so this is the max, and now I can click back here, and it'll go back to what the min position is. So if you look back up in these blend shape ones, min and max, so min is 0 on the blend shapes and 1 on the max, and basically that's what this is. So this is the min and this is the max. So when it's full off, when this animation's full off, it's going to be on the min, and when it's full on, it's going to be on the max. All right, so, and we're only affecting rotation. So if we have some animation or something doing something with position or scale, SALSA doesn't care about that. So let's go ahead and hit, well, first off, I gotta reset my triggers because I added a trigger, remember? So let's redistribute along the curve, and then let's go ahead and hit play. And what should happen is his mouth will animate while he's doing lip sync, but if he hits up in that high range, then the cube will animate. And we've got to hit play.
SALSA, simple automated lip sync approximation. The unique technology behind SALSA.
Okay, so that is in a nutshell how you set up blend shapes and bones. And in the next video, we will go through some of these advanced settings. Well, actually, we're just going to go through all the settings and in a lot more detail, and hopefully that'll give you a good rundown on how to set this up for the best look and feel for your character. So we look forward to seeing you in the next video.